Standing in front of the Charles W. Morgan, the whaling ship, it's probably the most iconic part of the collection here at the Mystic Seaport. Every year, over 300,000 folks come through here. What they probably don't understand is that in a collection of over 2 million items, most of that stuff is stored across the street. It might come through as part of a revolving collection or an exhibit, but a lot of it, you just have to go behind the scenes to see it, and that's what we're going to do today. This is Kelly Drake, Associate Director of Collections Research Access. She could take scholars, like myself, into this room back here and show me all kinds of things that most people ordinarily wouldn't get to see. For example, we were just outside at the Morgan. I want to take a look at the first ship's log that was ever on the Morgan. Thanks, Kelly.
Before you can do that, you're going to put on some gloves.
I'm going to put on some gloves.
So this is the first logbook of the Morgan. It was actually on the ship when she sailed. It's hard to read this, but if you want to try to read like the first line there.
May kind Neptune protect us with pleasant gales, and may we be successful in catching sperm whales. Yeah. And they were successful.
Yes, they were very successful. And like a lot of the whaling logbooks, it has in it whale stamps, which was an easy way for people who read the journal to figure out how much whales they were catching and where. When you see the two tails, that means they lost the whales. So they caught 3, they lost 4.
While just about anyone can visit the research room to study pieces of the museum collection, you need a special appointment and a staff escort to get behind this door.
This is our art and objects vault, high security, temperature, humidity controlled vault where we keep our art and objects for the collection. There we go. So this is just a small part of our scrimshaw collection. It's a tooth that's taken from the jawbone of a whale, and then the sailors, while they were at sea, they would transfer ink designs onto the tooth in a decorative pattern. I'm just opening up now an aisle that contains some of our ship's carvings.
There was an era when ship carvings and figureheads, those sculptures at the bow of the vessel that replicated hawks or Neptune or women who looked like queens or those Sir Walter Raleigh type guys, added a bit of personality and identity to the boats. The collection at the seaport is astounding. In addition to the millions of items they have here that you would sort of expect to see in a museum of the sea, they have a cabinet of curiosity, and Crystal Cornegay, who works here, is going to show us a sperm whale's eyeball.
I believe it has some sort of varnish over it, but we really don't know why this was preserved or what it was used for.
We're about to go in now behind this door that's just the Broom Closet. It's a misnomer if there ever was one. I like to think of it as the endless room of boats. There are over 500 boats and vessels in the Mystic Seaport collection. Over 400 of them are in this room. It goes on for yards and yards and yards. Everything from canoes, skiffs, kayaks, actual 19th century whaling boats, all the way up to these yacht launches. A lot of boats. I'm standing in the cage right now. This is at the extreme end of the behind-the-scenes property at Mystic Seaport. What we have behind me is everything from tools to harpoons to a lot of the outdoorsy stuff that doesn't need maybe the round-the-clock, high-intensity, temperature-controlled care that some of the finer items do, but believe me, there's a lot of cool stuff back here. We're standing amid racks of, I guess, what you would call every bit of tool and weapon you would need on a whaling ship. These are harpoons. Crystal said this is what they use to cut blubber,
yep,
right?
This would be used whenever you bring the whale in to start processing the whale and cutting up the blubber.
What is this, though? I gotta know what you use this for.
This is a contraption that would be used to catch eels.
Eel catcher. You don't see one of those every day.
So the reason we have all these different items, some of which may appear the same to some people, but are actually, they do have variations within themselves. They represent different makers, different time periods, different styles, different tools that they were made with. You can learn about the past not just from documents or from what people have written, but from also looking at the things they made or that they kept and the variations within them. One example would be a couple months ago we had a group come over from the Greenwich Maritime Museum and the Royal Observatory in England. And they were studying English sextants, and they were able to look at ours, which to some people may look all the same, but to them they can notice fine variations in the different tools, and were able to learn more about that time period from looking at those tools, and that applies to all of these as well. They may seem the same to us, but to specialists in these fields, they tell thousands and thousands of stories.